Hello and welcome to our first Tumolo Talk. My name is Ken Tumolo. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of Tumolo Financial. At Tumolo Financial, we specialize in putting all the pieces of the retirement puzzle together so our clients enjoy their retirement. I'm looking forward to launching this Tumolo Talk series. Every month, the plan is to put out a new video and really just covering those most common questions that people ask us. We're just going to kind of pick from the list of emails or phone calls when people call in and they ask us a question and kind of pick a topic every month. One thing I'll point out, and I'll do it again at the end, if there's a topic you want to recommend that we cover, I'll have you send that in and make the recommendation. Maybe we'll pick your topic. All right, so let's start. Today's topic, our very first topic, is going to be RMDs. And basically, for those of you that don't know, RMDs are required minimum distributions, or to make things hard, some of the companies call them MRDs, minimum required distributions. It's one and the same thing. But this is when you reach age 72. The federal government, for those of you that aren't already drawing, when you reach age 72, the federal government says that you have to take money out of those retirement accounts, those 401ks, those IRAs, 403bs, 457s. The one retirement account that you do not have to take money out of is a Roth account. But everything that was tax deferred on those 401ks and IRAs, you're required to take it out. And keep in mind, you want to do that because otherwise they're going to penalize you. So time to start the draw, basically age 72. And the one thing that I'm going to point out is the way the rule reads, it's drawing at any time during the year that you turn age 72. Okay. And then this is every single year. It's the same time. You pick the time to draw each year. It's not draw it on your birthday. It's any time during the year that you turn 72. And then when you turn 73, any time in the year that you turn 73, and so forth. The one thing that they will do is in your very first year when you turn age 72 is if you make a mistake and forget to draw, they give you a few extra months the following year to draw. But I don't recommend that because then it means you have to make two draws in the same year. So it possibly drives up your taxes. Other things that we'll cover today is a little bit of tax planning around that draw, because I find with some of us, we're just forced to take money out at age 72. And it might not be money that you really need, but you have to pay the taxes. So you can lose control of your taxes. So I'll give you a few different ideas to give you an advantage. A lot of this is really trying to plan ahead. Okay, do not miss your draw. I mentioned that a little bit earlier about starting at 72. Well, a couple things. If you miss your draw the first year, they give you a few extra months. So by April, you have to make that draw the following year. And they only give you that special rule is only for the first year. But like I said earlier, I recommend that you make sure you don't miss it the first year anyway, because then you have to take two draws in the following year. So it can mess with your tax return. You might end up paying more in taxes. If you miss a draw other than the first, you only have that year to draw. So if you miss that draw, and this is how it works. Let's say the first draw you missed completely, and then you even missed the extra time that they gave you. Or you just missed a draw when you're 75. Well, the way the rules read, you have to draw as soon as you figure out that you missed it, pay the taxes, but then you also get hit with a 50% penalty on the amount that you were supposed to take out. So that's a lot. Think about it. If you were supposed to take out $10,000, and this just compounds the issue. So $10,000, it's a $5,000 penalty. Plus, you have to draw the money and pay taxes on that money. So it's just a compounding problem. Now, you can ask for forgiveness when you go to do your tax return. What I always say is keep in mind that when you're writing a letter asking for forgiveness from the IRS, the thing is on the other end, you have to give them a good reason. And then the person on the other side is human. So they're the ones making the decision. It's not a computer that makes the decision. So you're really hoping that that person likes your letter and they can fit it into what they're reading, apply it a certain way, and then turn around and tell you you're forgiven. Don't worry about the 50%. Now, I myself, I don't want to take my chances on hoping that someone on the other end is going to decide whether or not I have to pay a penalty. So what you want to do is stay ahead of it. The one thing that I will say is the companies, when you turn 72 and each year from there, they will usually send you a reminder at the beginning of the year, reminding you that you do have to take an RMD in that year. And then the year after, they'll send you another letter, but they don't have to force it. The way the code reads, it's on you. Okay, so even though they send you that, or let's say they forget to send you a letter, you can't argue that you didn't get a letter. Basically, the way the IRS views it is you're supposed to know to take that draw. So it's on you, okay? And keep that in mind. One other thing I want to bring up, back in the 2019, it actually changed in 2020, the new tax rules, it affected the RMDs. Now, what I want to say, these require minimum distributions, even beneficiaries have to take them. Okay, so old rules, if you fall under the old rules, the way it worked is you were able to spread it out over your lifetime. Now, a spouse can still do that. So let's say you pass away, your spouse inherits your 401k or your IRA, they can still draw it out throughout their lifetime. But the big rule change was when they raised the age to 72, which is actually a new age, they went back and they said, okay, well, the kids, your children, and then anyone else, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, when they inherit those 401ks, IRAs, they have 10 years to pull it out. Okay. Now, they don't have to spread out the payments any certain order. They just have to empty out those accounts, by the end of 10 years. Otherwise, well, then there's a whole nother tax issue. But think about it this way. If you saved a real lot, and those accounts were pretty high, and then you passed away and your child inherited that money, they have 10 years to draw it out. And if they're young or younger and they're still working and they're high earning years, they're just going to be forced to pull money out by the end of 10 years and possibly pay more taxes to the IRS. So the IRS, the state, can actually become bigger beneficiaries of, well, what you saved up. So this is what I mean by trying to plan ahead for things. I always like to look ahead. I do what I call the Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup. And I know some of you have already gotten that from me, but basically what we want to do is look ahead, see if there's an issue down the road, plan for the estate planning piece of it, but also plan the tax piece of it. Because really, if you're 60 and we know at 72 you're going to have a required minimum distribution problem, meaning they're forcing you to take money out, it's driving your tax rates way up. We want to get ahead of these things. So we want to fix it for down the road. Overall, you just want to pay less in taxes. I guess that's the best way to sum it up. Tax planning, in bringing this up, don't be caught off guard. All right. So you want to run an analysis to see if there's a future problem. Let's say you're 60, 62, you saved real well, you're going to receive Social Security, possibly a pension. And depending on your lifestyle, some of us, when we reach 72, what's going to happen is we're going to have to pull a whole bunch of money out every year just because, well, the IRS says so. So we want to get ahead of it. There are little things that we do along the way. And I'll touch on some of those ideas on the next slide, but think Roth conversion, even draw sequence, how you draw your money out of accounts. Sometimes those of us that saved a little extra, we kind of got to flip things around and draw those IRA accounts earlier rather than those tax advantaged accounts. I like to come up with a mix where we're spreading it out over a long period of time, the taxes. And the big reason why is I don't want to wait till down the road and deal with a tax problem. Reason why is we never know if they're going to raise taxes. Okay, there's been a lot of things done over the past couple of years with COVID and such, and I mean, sooner or later, the federal government, the states might end up having to raise taxes. So if we push the problem down the road or kick the can down the road and wait till we're 72, it actually might cost you more money in taxes than doing things earlier. So we always want to plan ahead for these things. Remember, if an RMD is too big, one other thing I have to stress, it actually can cause a Medicare issue down the road, meaning they're having you pull all this money out of those accounts, and on the tax return it looks like income, so your income's higher income. There's different levels that Medicare goes up in cost. So it can really drive your cost up on the Medicare piece of it too. So we don't want to lose control of Medicare as far as the premium. We don't want to lose control of our taxes. It's just really getting ahead of this situation, doing some planning. In fact, ideas, I mentioned Roth conversions over a long period of time. And those of you that are younger, there's more that we can do. Whereas if you're 72 now, it kind of limits what we can do. Okay, but think about it. If we can foresee a problem down the road, then at a certain point we can start to do these conversions. And I mentioned tax bracket planning. Even the Roth conversions are based on tax bracket planning, figuring out how much money we can convert, staying in the same tax brackets. Okay. And what we're doing is we're trying to lower the value of those IRAs and 401ks, get them over to these Roth accounts. These Roth accounts, you never ever pay taxes again on the money, not even on the gain. Also, you don't have to draw them at age 72. And then your beneficiaries receive that money completely tax-free down the road. So a lot of pluses to the Roth, but it has to fit your situation. You just don't run out and do a Roth. You have to prove it out, make sure it gives you an advantage and it works for you. So sometimes it's based on tax brackets. Other times there's big dips in the market, meaning a 20, 30, 40% drop in the market. And then the Roth conversions start to really make sense for people. Draw sequence, I bring that up and I kind of touched on it on the last slide. It's really types of accounts. Meaning, if you're someone that has IRAs, 401ks, Roth accounts, possibly non-retirement accounts, money in the bank, sometimes what we're doing is to manage the tax bracket, we're drawing from multiple accounts going through a retirement each year. And what it does is it actually pushing, or we'll call averaging down your taxes. Now, if you average down your taxes over a long period of time, typically when you build that out and you look over a 30-year period of time, you pay less in taxes just because you're working the tax code to your advantage. Because you're at, for example, let's say you're falling in the 22% tax bracket, but if we averaged it down and you're paying 15% in taxes, you're saving 7% on taxes every year. And that adds up. So you don't want to miss these little things. You always want to plan ahead. I can't stress that enough. And the other thing I always say, it has to be whatever you're looking to do, it has to fit your situation. It actually has to fix something for you. Just don't run out and do it. Don't run out and set up do a Roth unless you prove that it actually is going to be something that works for you. Or I should say Roth conversion. Don't run out and like annuities are a big one. Don't go out and run out and buy an annuity to make sure it fits into your plan. It's matching the tool to the problem. I can't stress that more than enough. I've had people come in here with certain things already done that weren't working with me, but they needed some help because they worked with an advisor in the past. And then we find out, oh yeah, by the way, if we take that piece that you have, we apply it this certain way and do this, then over time, either it saves you money in taxes or it pays out to you more money. So it's kind of figuring out a way how to fit everything into the plan and purpose things. I guess that's the best way I want to put it. Have a purpose for how things are going together. Okay, how we can help. Again, we're going to continue to run these Tumolo Talks monthly. So the next one coming out is going to be on Roth conversions. It's actually a pretty big topic, especially with the market not kind of struggling now. And if we get a turn in the market and it goes down enough over the next few months, I know they're raising interest rates. We're not really 100% sure on direction. A lot of what we're hearing is it should just be a volatile market right now. But let's say the market were to turn and go down, then for some of you, a Roth conversion might be in the plan to give you an advantage. Right now, most of you that are working, it probably isn't. But we'd have to run an analysis to let you know, and then we just plan ahead for something like that. We do a complimentary Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup for those that attend these webinars. We do it for all our other events. So when we're putting together the Tumolo Talk, we just figure we should be doing it for this too. I'd rather see people prepared, because one thing is you might come in and see me, or we might do it by Zoom, let's say. Either way, but there might not be really anything that I can do for you now, but looking out in the future, it might point towards, okay, you're someone that we should be doing something let's say a Roth conversion. We'll use that as an example. You're someone that we should be doing a Roth conversion for at this certain point if there's an advantage. So it might be when the market drops. Well, there might not be anything to do today, but what we're able to do is plan ahead and say, well, if this happens, then I know there's something I should be looking to do. And even though we do this complimentary retirement checkup, you might be calling me back when that opportunity happens for you to actually benefit. It's really trying to find some type of advantage for you. All right, so in the lower right-hand side of your screen, we actually do have a box that you can click to schedule your complimentary phone call for questions. So if you have any questions, feel free just to click that, schedule a time on my calendar, ask me questions. And then if we find you want a complimentary Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup, then I'll even schedule that with you while we're talking on the phone. But don't worry, if they're just basic questions, things that you don't know, things that you didn't understand that I talked about in this Tumolo Talk, feel free, schedule a time to talk to us. Also, you can call in or you can even email us. Basically, make a suggestion on topics, things that you'd like to hear us talk about. The email I would send it to would be contact@tumolofinancial.com. Thank you.